The air in the Swiss Alps, usually pure and crisp, felt heavy and laden with history in the Zermatt Valley, under the imposing shadow of the Matterhorn. Dr. Andreas Vogel, a glaciologist from the University of Bern, was working on a project to monitor the acceleration of melting in alpine glaciers, a crucial effort in the face of climate change. He was not looking for artifacts, but for data. However, in the warmest summer recorded in 5 centuries, the GORNERGRAT Glacier not only provided him with alarming data, but also a secret that Europe's elite had fought to keep buried. Give it a like, subscribe, and share. Let's begin. At an altitude of 3,000 meters, where millennia-old ice was yielding at an unprecedented rate, Vogel's team detected a thermal anomaly that was not natural. It was not a geothermal source, but an artificial structure that maintained an internal temperature of approximately 5 degrees Celsius, in contrast to the surrounding ice. After 3 days of controlled excavation with hot steam, the team broke through the wall of an artificial chamber carved directly into the bedrock beneath the glacier. The passage was narrow, barely a meter wide, and descended at a steep angle, lined with granite blocks, carved with a precision that defied medieval engineering. Dr. Helena Keller, an art historian from the University of Zurich, who accompanied the expedition to document any remains from the Middle Ages, descended with Dr. Vogel. 100 meters beneath the ice layer, the passage opened into a large carved cavern, cold, dry, and silent. It was not a natural cave. It was a monumental crypt designed for storage and isolation. The floor was smooth limestone, and the air smelled of beeswax, linseed oil, and old paper. The light from their lanterns revealed a spectacle of terrifying magnificence, a secret library containing hundreds of thousands of documents, artifacts, and cult objects, stacked and organized with obsessive meticulousness. Dr. Keller estimated that the contents represented the private collection of a powerful and extremely wealthy institution. There were 2,500 cubic meters of space dedicated exclusively to preservation, and the organization of the shelves and boxes obeyed an astronomical coding system that took weeks for them to begin to understand. The extent and richness of the collection surpassed that of most European university libraries at the time of its closure. The discovery, soon classified as Project Matterhorn by the Swiss government, became Europe's most secretive archaeological and intelligence project. 1. The Archive of the Great Betrayal, the Truth of the Reformation. The central treasure of the crypt was not gold or jewels, but the library of documents. The spruce wood shelves, miraculously preserved, were filled with leather-bound books, vellum-rolled manuscripts, and file boxes sealed with broken wax. The key documents, the Black Codices. Dr. Vogel and a team of 8 historians specializing in the Protestant Reformation and the Inquisition began the analysis of the 10,500 volumes. The most explosive discovery was a series of black leather-bound codices, which they internally referred to as the Black Codices. The Secret Treaty of Augsburg, 1555, a document that refuted the official narrative of the Peace of Augsburg. This treaty was not an agreement for religious freedom, the formula cuius regio, eius religio, whose realm, his religion, but a secret pact for territorial and economic division between the Catholic royal houses, Habsburg, and the Protestant princes, the Schmalkaldic League. The document revealed that the pretext of faith was used to legitimize the confiscation of vast monastic properties and wealth by the princes, with the implicit approval of the Habsburgs, who sought to avoid a total war that would weaken the Holy Roman Empire. The Reformation was not just a theology, but a massive wealth transfer scheme. The Protocols of the Florentine Bank, 1570 to 1610, a detailed record of the financial transactions of the main Italian banking families, Medici, Fugger, and their active manipulation of the currencies of the time. The protocols revealed that the Pope and the bankers financed both sides of the European wars of religion, providing loans to Protestants to buy weapons and to Catholics to mobilize armies. The document proved that perpetual war was an extremely profitable business that kept the financial elite in control of the continent. The interest applied to war loans exceeded 50% in some cases, ensuring that, regardless of the theological victor, the bankers would be the only material winners. The original forbidden index, the Index Expurgatorius, not the published list, but the list of burned and prohibited works that the Roman Inquisition concealed from the public. This list included not only heretical texts, but advanced medical treatises, especially gynecology, and herbal anesthesia, alchemy documents that explored energy and metallurgy, and astronomy texts that surpassed the Copernican model. The Church not only suppressed heresy, it suppressed scientific knowledge that could have accelerated the scientific renaissance by hundreds of years to maintain control of information and authority. The evidence of the intentional suppression of 428 key medical and scientific treatises was the greatest crime against the Enlightenment. 2. The Lost Monastery and the Lodge of the Custodians. The analysis of the broken wax seal on the file boxes was crucial to identifying the custodians of the secret. The seal was neither ecclesiastical nor from any known royal house. It was a cryptic symbol consisting of a golden eye inscribed within an inverted Maltese cross, flanked by the letters C and L, the Custodes Lucis. Dr. Keller finally identified the letters C and L as the abbreviation for Custodes Lucis, the name of a secret and Kabbalistic monastic order that operated in Central Europe during the 15th and 16th centuries. The original monastery. The documents revealed that the Alpine Crypt was the emergency archive of the Abbey of St. Florian, originally located near the Black Forest. The abbey was not what it seemed. Under the guise of a Benedictine order, it housed an intellectual lodge dedicated to preserving Europe's scientific and political knowledge from the burnings of the Inquisition and the Civil Wars. Its members were often exiled intellectuals or alchemists who had fled the Inquisition courts. The mission of concealment. The custodians were not neutral. They were secret opponents of the Roman Church and the royal houses that manipulated the conflicts. When the 30 Years' War and the witch hunts intensified in the 17th century, the custodians spent 10 years evacuating their entire archive from the Abbey of St. Florian, a logistical process of hundreds of trips across the mountains, to the GORNERGRAT Glacier. The Alpine monks who administered the site until its final sealing in 1698 were the last members of the lodge. The final sealing was not just a physical act. It was an intellectual sacrifice to ensure that the truth would only emerge in the distant future, when society could bear it. The glacier became the bunker of Europe's historical truth, sealed by a layer of ice expected to last several thousand years. 3. The artifacts of the truth machine. The crypt did not only contain paper, it also contained technological artifacts of a design that suggested the custodians not only archived knowledge, but also developed it. The Alpine Antikythera mechanism, in an auxiliary chamber, protected by a cedar wood box lined with lead. Dr. Vogel's team found an object that made Zurich engineers question the Renaissance. It was a bronze and iron clockwork mechanism of incredible complexity, approximately 1 meter high. Give it a like, subscribe, and share. The function. The mechanism was not a clock. It was an analog calculator capable of tracking planetary cycles, with an accuracy surpassing 1950s astronomy, calculating tide tables and predicting eclipses for the next 1,000 years. But its strangest function was the correlation of terrestrial and celestial events. The mechanism contained a series of carved crystal plates that moved with the gears, which the custodians used to predict windows of political instability or war based on the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Technological implication. Its dating placed it in the 15th century, a design that predated the Industrial Revolution by 300 years. The precision of the gears, tolerances of 10 microns, implied a metallurgical skill and a grasp of geometry that was believed impossible until the invention of the precision machine tool in the 19th century. This artifact demonstrated that the technology of the modern world was a slow rediscovery of knowledge the custodians already possessed in the late Middle Ages. The modular design of the mechanism even suggested the capacity for repair and upgrading, an engineering concept thought to be strictly from the 20th century. The hermetic seal, alembic. Another crucial artifact was an advanced design blown glass distillation alembic, used for distilling herbal essences and oils. The alembic was equipped with a vacuum sealing system using mercury stoppers that allowed distillation at low temperatures, preserving the active chemical properties of medicinal plants. The analyzed remnants of medicinal oils demonstrated the extraction of highly effective analgesics and potent antiseptics from common plants, poppy, belladonna, yarrow. The custodians held the key to advanced medicine that could have eradicated smallpox and reduced surgical mortality in the 16th and 17th centuries, knowledge that was intentionally suppressed by the Inquisition due to its association with alchemy and natural magic. The discovery of an inhalable ether-based anesthetic, whose formula was on the tablets, proved that painless surgery was possible in Shakespeare's time. 4. The secret of ZERMATT, the dismantling of European history. Project Matterhorn was not just a find, it was a weapon of historical mass destruction. The Swiss government, operating under extreme pressure from Germany, France, the Vatican, and the United Kingdom, all of which had their national and historical narratives built on the foundations of the Reformation and the Renaissance, made a drastic decision: the negotiation of the truth. The Swiss government refused to surrender custody of the artifacts, maintaining its traditional armed neutrality. Instead, a secret 5-point international treaty, known as the Berna Accord, was negotiated, which would change Europe forever through the manipulation of knowledge. Political reform. It was agreed to release, in a controlled and gradual manner over 50 years, the narrative of the Reformation as an economic and geopolitical event, rather than purely theological, but omitting the evidence of the banking conspiracy and the financing of war on both sides. Technological suppression. The Alpine Antikythera Machine and the hermetic seal Alembic would be classified at the highest security level, and their technology would be studied in military and energy research laboratories in the United States and Germany, with no public acknowledgement of their 15th century origin. The myth of the Industrial Revolution as an 18th century invention had to be preserved. The silence of knowledge. The list of forbidden books that would accelerate scientific progress, the original Forbidden Index, would be kept permanently secret. The Church negotiated that it be allowed to gradually bring to light texts that were not too subversive to show an evolution of stance on knowledge. Dr. Andreas Vogel and Dr. Helena Keller became the modern custodians of a secret that dismantled the history of Europe as a tale of linear progress and genuine faith, revealing instead a history of cynical manipulation of religion for economic gain and control of information. The discovery in the Swiss mountains was not the end of history, but the beginning of history's rewriting. The GORNERGRAT Glacier, by melting, had unearthed the true machine of history, proving that the Middle Ages was not an era of darkness, but an era of suppressed knowledge, and that modern capitalism had been built on a 500-year-old lie, orchestrated in a secret treaty and financed by perpetual war. The ZERMATT crypt was not just an archive, it was a mirror of the power that Europe preferred to keep broken. Give it a like, subscribe, and share.